Palestine people.
Zionist settlers attacking one of the most holiest places for Muslims during the holiest month, Ramadan. So not only are Zionists unaliving Palestinian people, civilians who are completely unarmed.
The Israeli terrorist forces, you see how they pulling the disabled person on the ground, so badly, the person who cannot defend himself even though.
Now they're also desecrating one of the holiest places for Muslims, Al-Aqsa Mosque. They're firing live ammunition, they're firing rubber-coated steel bullets, and even gas canisters at people who are peacefully praying.
Palestinian civilians are huge around the Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they are busy in self-defense and confronting from Israeli crucial armed forces. Many houses were blown up in the air throughout the night. Dozens of boys, girls were picked up, and God knows where they are now. About the injuries, that is countless. Well, you know, like everybody's knows like what is happening in Palestine, and nobody's raising their voice, not even the United Nations. United Nations is under control of the Zionist, because a US president is a Zionist. He's proud to be Zionist, so there's no doubt.
Say, when I was a young senator, I say, if I were a Jew, I'd be a Zionist. I am a Zionist. You don't have to be a Jew to be a Zionist. I am a Zionist.
Whatsoever they call, you know, the security for humanity, they're not doing anything against Israeli terrorists. Should start the terrorist activity against Muslim people. Why like the Palestinian people, Kashmiri people being ignored every time, and you're still talking about the terrorists, calling the Muslim people a terrorist. You Zionists are terrorists on this planet. On the other side, United Nations, they're not talking, they're not condemning whatever they're happening in Palestine. United Nations also involved in this crucial and about Palestine. United Nations should have talked about, like, condemn about, like, what is happening there, what is the Israeli armed forces doing there.
Whether or not in Israel, the United States of America would have to invent an Israel to protect her interest in the region. The United States would have to go out and invent an Israel.
United Nations is focusing on to save underground water, vegetables. Okay, that's not acceptable. They're not supposed to do it. They're supposed to save the human's life. United Nations cannot do anything because the United Nations got funded by the Zionist American state, because his president, he claimed himself as a Zionist. So how you expect the United Nations will take any action regarding Palestine, regarding Kashmir, regarding any other Muslim country? No, they're never gonna take any action about Israel. Okay? Because United also involved in this cruciality into this terrorism. So they're not gonna stop it. So we must. United Nations is not gonna do anything. United Nations seems to be like just only a puppet, and like, you know, for it's a kind of like dummy for whole world, because they decided to do anything they could have done. They could have implement the resolution on to Kashmir. No, you're wrong. The Muslim people are not a human. Are the only Ukrainian peoples are the human being? No. Palestinian also a human being as well.
Imagine if our military broke into a church or a synagogue and began firing at people who are peacefully praying, civilians who are peacefully praying.